Hey everyone, welcome back to Nia Natters. This is episode 13. Hey everyone, welcome back to Nia Natters. This is episode 14, and today we're going to be talking about mindset shifts that helped me grow. So, let's get cracking, let's get straight into it. Some personal updates. Still waiting on the house, still waiting on my health. However, I am taking a week off of work and I am going away with some friends of mine to the Lake District this week, which is going to be really fun. And I also this is giving you very much whiplash, but I have also decided that once I have moved into the house that I will be doing my ACCA qualifications, which is my accounting qualifications in the UK. So if you do want to know more about that or have any updates, or maybe we can do some study with me's, I don't know, on another channel. I don't really want to create a third one, but just trying to think about how that would work. Also, thank you so much for all of the views on Journey to the West as well. I really do need to put that back into my routine, but at the moment it is not priority, so I have not been doing that. But in terms of my routine recently, it has literally just been consisting of my coaching business, which I'm happy to say that I have got a client, and I have a strategy put in place now that I do every week so that I can get the maximum benefits from it. I do think that I could be doing more, so over time I will implement some more things, but it just takes a lot out of my time. So at the moment I am still at a certain point, but I know that I can go further. This is actually really well linked to a mindset shift. I have decided that no matter how much time passes, that I'm just willing to keep trying different things until something works. One of which I've never thought about before. I used to just think, oh, if something's not working, then I might as well just give up. But now that's really changed, and especially in the coaching area, like 2 or 3 years ago, I tried coaching again and ended up giving up because I just didn't see a way forward, and I wasn't willing to change my methods of trying to get customers and things of that sort. So anyways, so let's get into the actual topic itself. What is a mindset shift? So a mindset shift is a change in the way that you think or choose to live. That's my own personal definition. I'm not really sure what the proper definition would be, but I think that this change in thought, action, or lifestyle is very important, especially if you've found something that doesn't really work at the moment and you need to change it. If you don't have a mindset shift, then it might be really difficult, especially if you're in the negative methods of a certain mindset. That if something needs to be changed to really benefit you and you're unwilling to change something because this way of living is what you've always known and what you always want to know and what you always will know, then it could really damage your growth and your way of thinking and how that could evolve if you did have the mindset shift. I think is also important because going from a closed mindset to an open mindset, you might be finding new ideas and experiences that you might not have been able to experience if you were in the old mindset. And then going on to thinking about this deeper, how small changes in thinking can lead into big changes in life. So like I just said, the comparison between open and closed mind, I think if you're not willing to change and all that you know is all that you ever want to know, then that means that you're not opening yourself up to possibilities that are around you to maybe make better improvements to your life compared to the one that you're currently living. And I think that especially when it comes to habits as well, being able to think, oh, if I do a little bit of this every single day, that little change and consistent change will snowball up to a big change in the end, because you're changing a teeny tiny fraction of your life but making it something better, and you're obviously improving on something or constantly working on something, which then means that a little part of your life is changing significantly over time. And I think a group of mindset shifts as well can really impact your life and make a big change happen as a result, because if you change like teeny tiny bits of your life and then observe how that would look in the big picture, then you can actually see that a lot of your life has changed as a percentage. Like if you look at it, let's just say 100% is your entire life. If you start making changes to 1% of your life and you do that, 50, 60 times, or some of them might be 2%, some of them might be 5%, but you're changing your mindset throughout all these aspects of your life. Even if you do, let's do the math a minute, even if you do 5%, so that's 60%, that's over half of your life that you've altered. And that's the majority of your life, which means that your 60% of the better part of your life, or the improved part of your life, is probably more likely to have something good happen as a result. So I just think that small changes is a very good way to start, because one little teeny tiny change over time, like I said, can snowball and become a big thing that changes in your life. And that is a good thing, especially if your changes are things like willing to grow, willing to have self-development, willing to learn a skill, willing to think about different paths to get to your dream life, willing to network, willing to reach out for help if that's something that you need. And it all comes from a teeny tiny change at the beginning. So if you ever look at yourself and think, oh, well, I'm really not doing much in terms of self-improvement, I've only just changed this one little thing, congratulations, you've changed one thing, and that's better than not changing anything at all. And as I keep saying, that little thing might change into a big thing depending on how much effort and how much of your life that little thing, in quotation marks, takes up of your overall life, your routine, your existence, your purpose, things like that. So now we're going to talk about some key mindset shifts that transformed my growth. So the first one was from fixed to growth mindset, and I've really learnt that abilities and intelligence can be developed over time. I've not only seen this in my partner, he's a very good advocate for this topic, because I have never ever met someone before I met him who put so much time and effort into bettering themselves, and it really inspired me as well. So for example, I hope he doesn't mind me talking about him, but for example, he spent so much time learning English, and he would have a routine, almost like that was his entire life. He lived and breathed learning English. His entire day was structured around learning English. And yes, he is like the more extreme version. But I think that the way that he conducted his life to get a good outcome really is something that inspired me to become more like him. So prior to being with my partner, I used to be very much fixed mindset in terms of, like I said, if I couldn't do something or something didn't work, I would just stop. Like, I would stop the entire thing. I wouldn't even consider trying out different things to see if they worked instead, to try and get the same goal achieved. But now, especially in my coaching business, let's have a look at the timeline, shall we? So in 2020, peak COVID, I decided to join a coaching workshop just to see what type of thing it was, whether I'd be interested. Loved the idea of being a coach. Then I wrote for days and days and days. I wrote about what I would call it, the packages I would offer, my niche, trying to find my niche, trying to find the type of customers, thinking about where I could set up marketing to attract said customers, things that I needed to work on within myself, such as my confidence. At that time, confidence was the biggest issue of me starting that career. And then I bought a life coaching book. I still have it. I spent hours and hours reading it. I highlighted, I made notes, I made sticky notes on the pages, I wrote on pages. I've never ever written in a book, so obviously this was something that I planned to keep for ages because I enjoyed it so much, and the read was so easy. I treated it like I was studying, and this was in the summer of uni, so obviously I had loads of time to kill, and it was COVID, like I said. So then I finished the book and I tried reaching out. Nothing happened. So I thought, oh, well, I'm in uni anyway. Might as well just give up for a bit and I can return to it in a few months or so. I think I tried in 2021 and then 2022, and it was just the same thing. I was waiting for something to happen. I was talking to my close friends about it, not really taking action, not really sure what I'd be doing. I think I started a Fiverr account and thought, oh yeah, this is it. This is where my expertise are going to be shown. No one obviously even saw my Fiverr account profile because it was probably tucked away in the back because I didn't want to pay for marketing. I didn't want to do any of that. And then I think 2021 or 2022, I came up with the idea. So after those little peaks, I didn't do anything. Nothing happened in the world of coaching in my life. And then 2022, I was having a look on Reddit, and I created a Reddit account, and then I decided to start reaching out to people. Got banned from a few Reddit subcategories because I didn't read their rules and regulations, but I would just be absolutely pushing out my coaching. If anyone wants it, I do free 45-minute coaching sessions for the first 10 people that want to be coached or give a testimonial in return. Wonderful. Got the 10 people, got the testimonials. Everything died down again. Didn't know what the next step was. Didn't know what to think. Thought, oh yeah, I'm just going to leave it here for now. I'm going to come back to it in a while. So fast forward to 2023, I revisited, started reaching out to people again, died down again, created my own Reddit category, to set goals because I'm a personal development coach, so I wanted to set goals, and that didn't work, so died down again. 2024. This was like the turning point for me. So I created a website. I think I started that in 2023 anyway. Created a website, offered coaching, created a Calendly to book appointments, created blog posts. This was all last year actually, yeah. Thought, what is my niche? I've spoken about my niche, but my niche isn't niching. So I think that's where I, instead of being a generic life coach, I became a personal development coach. I found out what type of packages I wanted to introduce, because I found that when I was doing my testimonial, sorry, this is an absolute ramble now. I found when I wanted to do my testimonials, people would be coming to me for like the most random things, like as if I was a career coach. And even though I do career and passions in my coaching package now, at that point I was like, I can't tell you like what degree to do. It's more about you wanting to do your career as your passion. That's the type I do. I'm not like a career counsellor. Anyway, so that's that. Then I started teaching myself to market. I tried LinkedIn, and I went back to Reddit. Reddit's really good. Like, Reddit is really underrated. I tried some SEO search engine optimizations. I tried, what else did I try? Funnily enough, one of my clients, he started up his own advertising SEO company, so he actually helped me out with my SEOs a lot last year. But now I'm kind of on my own trying to teach myself, so at the moment I'm considering whether or not to go back to LinkedIn, because I feel like I'm unsure if I gave it enough time. I gave it a month. I'm on Instagram now, and I feel like that hopefully will work very well over time. I just haven't hit the right audience, and I haven't been going for long enough yet. I obviously have my podcast, which hopefully, especially my newest section called Coaching Corner, is going to be showing that I do have good things to say and I am valuable as a coach. I also have, I think, is that it? I do blogs as well on my website. So my website has a lot of SEOs now for people to come and look at. So I do have a few things that I try and do every weekend to make sure that everything's just moving along well throughout the week while I'm busy working and doing other things. Anyway, I feel like this journey has really shown that abilities can be developed and intelligence on things can be developed as well. If I didn't start this, I would have never had the opportunities to learn. I would never have had the things that I know now. So another key mindset shift was from fear to action. Like I said at the beginning of this story, I was always very fearful to start because I used to think, oh my God, what if I don't know enough? What if people make fun of me? What if people around me that know me in real life find out that I'm doing this? And I don't know why, but I was always like really embarrassed to go out and have these conversations with people, which blows my mind now because I'm just here like, yep, I'm a coach, what about it? I'm a personal development coach. I've told the people in work know, my friends know, and one of the things as well, I just remembered while I was doing like the big Reddit thing, this one guy found me on Reddit and he was like a proper coach hater. He was like, there's no point in like a coach. And then he'd come onto my profile and he'd be like saying all this stuff about coaches, and that used to just put me off, because I was like, oh, I can't stand up to hate. I don't like it, so I'm just going to back down and be silent. I'm going to let him walk all over me. But now I just ignore like the hate and I just keep on going, because it is my passion after all, and there's something that I really want to push through and get right and get there at the end. So another one is seeking validation. To exactly what I just said is as if, you know, I'm anticipating the next topic. Seeking validation to self-trust. So the power of trusting your own instincts. I think deep down, I've always had an idea on how I want coaching to look, but it does take time, and you need to make sure that you're making that time so that you can have the best possible outcome for your idea. I used to just be like, oh yeah, I'm doing this, but then I'll just step away and just wait for something else to come to me. When actually, when I sit down and try things and not seek validation, like I used to step back and step down for anyone who used to say anything negative about it, and I was like, yep, that's me done for a while. I'm done. I don't want this attention, so I'm going to wait until it dies down and try something new. However, trusting yourself on knowing that you're doing the right thing for you, instead of seeking validation and listening to people that might not think that coaching is all that, is very important. And I think I did learn that over time. I could have learned it quicker, but I think I'm a very strong believer in everything happens for a reason, and things happen when they're meant to happen. So I don't think I was ready to become a coach when I first started. I knew that I wanted to do it, but I just didn't know how. And now I'm really grasping the how, and I've got a really strong validation of why I want to do this, and knowing that I don't need anyone else to validate this is really good. But it does take a lot of trial and error and confidence. You have to make sure that you know in yourself why you're doing it, and that you trust yourself to do it. So the next key mindset shift is from failure to learning. So basically seeing setbacks as lessons instead of roadblocks. So like I said, in the past I used to think, oh well, this isn't working, let's just shut it down. And then I'd revisit it, because I knew deep down that this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do well at. Why isn't it working? What else can I try? And I used to take a lot of inspiration from things that I saw, and things that were to me like a gap in the market for me to just like have a try at, you know. But definitely the past year I've just kept pushing and pushing, and now my entire weekend is made up of doing things for my coaching business. And if I need to do more in the weekdays, then I will. You know, I've got that time carved out. That is my priority. Nothing else matters until that's done for the week. And I just hope that this keeps on growing. Oh, to add on, I have a Patreon. I also have Fiverr again, but I've immensely improved that. I also need to add to my Fiverr account, actually, funnily enough. Next, I have Upwork, and I also have people per hour now. So hopefully, even if I don't get long-term clients, I can hopefully get some on there. And I also have one tonight. But I also need to recircle back and reach out to past clients and clients that never made the meetings as well. But that is another story. From scarcity to abundance is the next key mindset shift. So the ability to shift from I don't have enough to I can create opportunities. So that is very big when it comes to me and my knowledge of coaching, or what I believe is the acceptable amount of knowledge for coaching. I used to think, I don't have enough knowledge, I don't have enough experience. How am I going to get the experience if I don't go out and create opportunities to receive the experience? If I just keep worrying, that's another thing. Oh my gosh. Every time I used to have a coaching session in my schedule, that's all I could think about. And I could never ever relax until it was over, and I would be like overexerting myself all day the day before. And look at me now. I've got one later and I am as cool as a cucumber. I think is something in work has also helped me with this, because I have so many random meetings with all levels of the company, like managers, team leaders, agents, specialists, that I'm just so used to it now that I'm just like, yeah, bring it on. Who could be worse than an ops manager, you know? Not worse, but like more intimidating. And if one thing as well is that another failure to learning mindset shift is, even if they don't want me as their full-time coach, I've got the experience that I never had before. And that really does lead into scarcity to abundance mindset shift, because I used to think, I don't have enough experience to talk to people. But I've now created an opportunity to have more experience by having this meeting. And, you know, I used to never have packages. I used to just think, I'm just going to coach someone and whatever I come across or whatever the issue is, then I can work around it. But now I've created packages that really benefit myself and my abilities, instead of something that I think might not benefit me, in terms of like things being too vague or things being too wide in terms of what we can talk about. So narrowing it down really does benefit me in that way. So the next section we're going to be talking about is overcoming common mental blocks. So recognizing negative thought patterns. I think this comes through the act of self-development, being able to catch yourself before a negative thing happens. That always happens with practice though. So let's just say you come across something that's triggering for you, and then you act out because you've had a certain mindset. So you've got to then go back and return to that situation, mentally, I mean, not physically, and you need to see where your mindset shifted into a negative thought process. And then you've got to understand why, and then you've got to understand how if you come across that situation again, how you can reframe the situation to where there will be a positive thought pattern or a positive action as a result of the negative thought pattern. But that comes with a lot of self-awareness and self-development, which takes time to do. One suggestion that I always suggest is to go on Pinterest, which is free, have a look at shadow journaling prompts, and work your way through the ones that appeal most to you and that you feel will really benefit improving your mindset. So another way of overcoming mental blocks are different tools for shifting your perspective in difficult situations. So this is turning negatives into positives, that's one. You could also do oh, this is beneficial for me because it's a learning experience. And just things like that. Like if you came across, I don't know, like me, if you came across a coaching session and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready, I don't have enough experience, instead of thinking about that, you can shift your perspective to, oh, it's a good way for me to learn and gain experience of dealing with different clients. So one is just thinking about how you talk to yourself. Another one is, like I said, journaling. And this helps you become, when you write down personal things, you can then become more objective when you read it, and then you can see where you felt a certain way and how you can reframe that in your head for the next time and think about something in a more positive light. Funnily enough, there's also a method of this that is used in coaching, and it's called reframing. So it's basically what I just said, but in a more fancier way of saying it. So instead of saying, I failed, so I'm not good enough, you could try, this didn't work out, but I learned something valuable for next time. So similarly, like I just said about the whole coaching thing, is that even if I don't get a client, I've learnt about different types of clients. I've learnt what to say, what not to say. And the tool here is to challenge negative thoughts by asking, what's another way to look at this? And like I said, journaling is very good because you're laying down everything that you think of in that moment and you're getting all your feelings out onto a page. But then you could just return to that when your mind is in a clearer way, and you can see like where you need to pick up on yourself when needing to reframe something, if that makes sense. There's also the 10-10-10 rule, which is all about mindfulness and just taking a step back and seeing the impact of this thought. So you have to ask yourself, there's 3 10s. Will this matter in 10 minutes? Will this matter in 10 months? And will this matter in 10 years? It really does put setbacks into perspective and reduces stress over temporary challenges, because if it doesn't matter in 10 minutes, then it shouldn't matter to you at the time. Obviously, easier said than done, but it is a good way to really step back and have a think about the things that you're worrying about and you're stressing about and you're talking down to yourself about, to reframe them into a more positive light. There's also, which is very similar to the first one, the growth mindset shift. So instead of saying, I'm bad at this, you could try, I'm still learning and I'll get better with practice. Very similar to the first one. So adding yet to the end of the sentence shows that in the future you will be better than you are now, which means that there is growth, and that is a positive accumulation of experience and knowledge, to be honest. You could also use gratitude journaling. So instead of, like I said before, writing down everything that happened and gauging what triggered you, what you need to improve on, how your mindset looks when thinking about difficult situations, you could just talk about the good things that happened today. So this helps rewire your brain to focus on the positive things instead of the issues or the things that you could potentially worry about. There's also the what if it goes right technique. So instead of thinking about all the different ways that something could be bad, you could think about how this could turn out to be better than you're anticipating it to be. So you could write down all of the positive possibilities instead of thinking about the worst case scenarios. There's also the best friend advice exercise, which means that if you were thinking about your best friend or your friend being in this situation, what advice would you give them? And this obviously makes things more objective, and it removes the self-judgment that we place on ourselves due to high expectations, and offers a more compassionate perspective, because we always think about the best qualities of our friends and the worst qualities about ourselves. The last one is visualization and future self-thinking. So if you thought about your future self looking back at you at this moment, think about how they would tell you to handle the current situation that you're in, which helps separate emotions from decisions, and then you can see the bigger picture as a result. So I think overcoming mental blocks, I've given a lot of examples of how I overcame them. I definitely use reframing the situation and the growth mindset shift. And I think a little bit of the future self visualization as well, because I always think, I care about this now, but if I acted as if I was, a couple of years in the future where I'm more adapted to this scenario or situation, how would I feel about it? Would I care as much as I do now? The answer is no most of the time. So one thing that I do want you to do as a result is think about creating daily habits to reinforce a positive mindset, and let me know in the comments how that goes. Also, let me know if you do things like that already. Consider creating journal prompts to help reframe negative beliefs, and I would like to hear from all of you about identifying one mindset shift that you want to work on this very week. Let me know in the comments below on what you want to work on this week, and let's see what everyone comes up with. So now we are on to the section of answering some questions that I had around this topic, and I have a question from Marcus. I haven't yet fully broken away, but I'm making very good progress in being less... I can't speak. So we have a question from Marcus that says, I haven't yet fully broken away, but I think I'm making very good progress in being less self-deprecating. I try to do this by calmly but firmly giving myself come to Jesus talks, for lack of a better phrase or word, where I just calmly try telling myself respectfully off for what I did, and telling myself what I can at least try to do to avoid it in the future. I think the one thing that might work for you is reframing. So instead of telling yourself off, maybe try and think about how you can use the experience that you've learnt from it instead. So instead of always seeing the bad things and that you've made a mistake, think about what you've learnt as a result of doing these actions instead. There's always a positive that comes out of an experience. So just see if you've gained knowledge, if you've gained experience, if you've learned to never do something again. There's always a good takeaway. You don't always have to think of everything as a mistake. And especially telling yourself off gives yourself guilt and actually changes things into a more negative perspective, where you'll be more reluctant to try things because you know that you're going to have a negative outcome, which would be telling yourself off to conclude. You know what I mean? But I think definitely consider trying some of the tools that I just said about, such as what would you tell a friend? Think about the good things, maybe gratitude journaling might even help you. Think about reframing the situation, so instead of focusing on the negative, think of the positive. You could even try the 10-10-10 rule. Does it matter in 10 minutes? Will it matter in 10 months? Will it matter in 10 years? Who knows? But thank you as always, Marcus, for asking a question. It is a very valid question. And like I said, if I was more willing to embrace change and failure, I would have been further along in my coaching, and I am not, because I never used to open my mind to the prospect of growth and learning. I always used to try and shut it down and think, well, my current situation isn't working, so like, why am I trying? So yeah, I believe that is everything. So today we spoke about mindset shifts. We provided some key mindset shifts that transformed growth. I spoke about overcoming common mental blocks and the tools that can shift your perspective. I encouraged you lot to let me know in the comments on the mindset shift that you want to work on this week, and make sure you provide those down below. And we also spoke about some questions from subscribers and the community. So yeah, we've done a lot today. We've covered a lot, but I have enjoyed every moment of it. And speaking about my personal growth over the past few years, isn't it crazy that I started this journey of coaching 5 years ago? So let's just remember to embrace change and keep growing, because growth is always going to be beneficial for us, and it allows us to change for the better. Please remember to share your mindset shifts in the comments, and also, speaking of sharing, please share this podcast with someone that you might think will enjoy it. And don't forget to give a like on this video and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I also have a Patreon, which you can see in the lower right hand corner of the screen. If you do want to be coached by me, you can send a digital commission there, but you can also have a look at my website, which is linked in my channel bio, which you can access all of my packages, my free 45-minute session, and all that good stuff. Other than that, I will see you all next week, and keep an eye out for my little videos that go out every week as well. And I'll see you all then. Bye everyone.